What's going on, everybody? Marcus Havoc here again with another LFR preview. This time around I did a Havoc Demon Hunter in the Legion beta. They opened up the first wing of Emerald Nightmare in LFR, and I wanted to do a quick video commenting on how the Havoc Demon Hunter played in a raid setting. Even though it is LFR, it's somewhat of a raid setting. We get a good look as to how the bosses are going to play out. So the build that I went with was actually the Momentum Prepared build, along with Demon Reborn and Demonic. As you can see here, I start off the fight with an I-Beam, and then I build up to get Metamorphosis. So you go I-Beam first as fast as you can, build up some Fury, and then unleash the Metamorphosis, which refreshes your cooldown of I-Beam if you've taken Demon Reborn. Overall, I found the spec to be tremendously fun, even in a simple single target fight. There's no ads in this fight, so there's no need to jump around and kill things. You're just single targeting your butt off. It's an amazing spec. I really love Havoc. I'm obviously planning on maining a Havoc Demon Hunter in Legion, but overall the spec looks fantastic. See right there, I just did my Vengeful Retreat Fell Rush. That ups your damage by 20% for 4 seconds, and take advantage of it. The key thing about that build is to make sure you've got a little bit of Fury saved up before you do that. And of course, with that build, your Vengeful Retreat's on a 15-second cooldown, so you got to keep an eye on it. Overall, the Havoc Demon Hunter has a melee DPS spec in a raid setting. Plays a lot like a Fury Warrior, but it has the feel of a Rogue. I've done a little Rogue in Siege of Orgrimmar way back when. Didn't play it very well because I couldn't get Rogue as easily as I could Warrior, but the spec feels great. The spec feels fantastic. It's a great spec that I think everybody could definitely have some fun with, even just some dungeons. I did a lot more testing on this boss that we'll talk about later on the next two bosses that really make the Demon Hunter shine, especially with abilities like Chaos Nova and the ability to Fell Rush, and to use abilities like Fell Blade to charge at targets. They call it a 2-button spec. Well, most classes now are dependent upon just a few buttons to build and spend, if it's a build and spend resource. Then with everything else mixed in, like with this class, you've got I-Beam, you've got your Fury the Illidari, you've got your Momentum and Havoc build, if that's the build that you've chosen. I thought that I wouldn't be able to embrace a melee class because I do like seeing the whole battlefield, but that really wasn't too much of a problem, especially on this fight, and especially on fights like Il'gynoth. But I'm very pleased with the Havoc Demon Hunter. I think that it is a solid melee DPS spec. It's not the most complicated, but it's not the simplest. The amount of fun that I had in this LFR was just amazing. I was just so happy just to get a chance to take a look at it. So the damage that I did in this fight, I asked someone to link the meters, and I did about 150k, and I think I was first or second overall in damage, which means the Havoc Demon Hunters are hitting very hard. Do I think there's some tuning needed? Of course there's always going to be tuning needed, because we don't know how the specs are going to play with a full set of tier gear from the Nighthold, and even though right now I have a fully loaded artifact weapon because I'm on the beta max level realm. But overall, did a pretty good job on this fight. I thought it was fun, and now we'll move on to the next fight. Alright, next up, everybody, is the Eye of Il'gynoth, or just Il'gynoth. This fight is a very fun fight. It's very similar to Hellfire Assault, and you've got a lot of ads going around. Ads spawn, tentacles spawn, and you hit that eye, and then you go right inside. I'm not going to do a preview of how the boss actually works. I'm just going to show you what it's like playing as a Havoc Demon Hunter in this fight. So as we're getting ready here, I use the same build, Prepared, Momentum, Demon Reborn, and Demonic. The build was fantastic overall as a build. I think it works fantastic overall on a multitude of fights. I wish I had done Chaos Cleave, just because there's always ads close together, and that means your Chaos Strike does strike 2 additional targets. But, the lessons we learn, maybe next time I'll do a video with Chaos Cleave, and we can see how that works. So now here's the boss fight. You want to start right away with a Fell Rush, get your damage buff up, building up some Fury there. Then I go ahead and do my Prepared Momentum build. unleash an I-beam there. The key to this fight, just like any other fight with that start off with ads, is going to be the ads. You don't kill the ads, you're dead, or they fuck you up. But I didn't find this fight to be particularly challenging from a melee DPS perspective, except for the movement involved, and that's where the Demon Hunter shines, is with its movement. You see all these ads coming around, the tanks are going to have to pull all these ads, and right now I wish I had an I-beam. I should have unleashed a Blade Dance. I think I do. Yep, I unleashed a Blade Dance right there to crush all these ads, but obviously I-beam's a lot more powerful for this situation. But overall, in a fight with ads, the Demon Hunter just shines because it has so many tools to go after ads. You've got Blade Dance, I-beam, even Throw Glaive, if you've taken the Bloodlet talent, does a pretty good job as well. But overall, I think that the fights with ads make it shine. That mobility with the Demon Hunter, coupled with the multitude of ways you can build the class, make it so you can just have your own experience. I could have went Chaos Cleave, I could have went Demon Blades, and I think I would have done just as good as I did before. I think I did about 100k on this fight because there was a lot of movement. But you know, overall, felt that the spec performed well in a fight with a multitude of ads. So we'll go ahead and go on to the next fight here. Alright, we're back with the next boss fight. This one is Elarith Renferal. It's a big-ass spider. This is another fight that's got ads that need to spawn, and there's a lot of movement that takes place during this fight. This is another instance in where the Demon Hunter shines. This fight is pretty simple, except you've got a mechanic in which you need to jump to different platforms because the boss turns into a bird. Once again, I'm not here to discuss how this boss actually works or what the boss fights are actually about, or as a guide to kill these bosses. This is just more of me trying to explain how the Havoc Demon Hunter plays in fights like this. So it looks like we're about to pull, and once again I get started with you know, getting my I-beam off, and then I get my metamorphosis together. You've got to pop that as soon as you possibly can, just because, well, it hits really hard and it's got a long cooldown and you want to save it for the end. So now it's feeding time, and you've got to get out of the way of the stuff, and you've got to burn ads. As you can see, Fel Rush works really, really well in this fight. Chasing down ads, killing ads should not be a problem for a Demon Hunter. Even if you don't take Fel Blade, you've got 2 charges of Fel Rush, so it shouldn't be too big of a problem. That's a mechanic there, or a new feature that they're putting into the game, which I love. It's kind of like that ad on GTFO. If you're standing in bad, your entire screen will eclipse in the color of the bad that you're actually sitting in. So if you're standing in purple stuff, your entire screen will collapse in purple, telling you, hey, get out of the purple stuff. In this case, it was green stuff. I was standing in bad and it collapsed the screen. So I was really, really excited to see that. I thought it did a pretty good job of letting you know what's up. So they're kind of adding their own little weak aura-esque stuff into the game. But I'm not going to spend too much time on this boss showing you what's going on. I just want to let you know that right now Havoc Demon Hunter in a raid setting feels great, has a lot of tools. It's definitely a class worth taking a look at if you've never done melee before, or if you're playing another melee class and you're thinking of switching. Don't be afraid, it does a fantastic job. Chasing down ads, single target, it's a solid spec, and I'll be covering it all expansion long. So this is Marcus Havoc signing off. Stay tuned for more previews. I'll probably do Protection Warrior next, and then probably do a little bit of Hunter as well. So we'll see you guys.